Hello and welcome back to another one of those videos where I talk about updates about the Steam version Dwarf Fortress coming from Tarn and Kitfox. But we have another Reddit update from you. The elusive Meph has posted once again, this time about grass mockups, asking for some feedback. As always with these posts, I will be linking the thread and the source down beneath so you can go comment if you wish. And of course, feel free to leave comments on this video. Let me know everything you think, agree or disagree. Let's jump right in. At the top of the post, Meph left this comment. What do you guys think about the grass? After some feedback, they cut back on some more of the varied grasses out of fears that they would be too distracting. And Meph wants us to have a look and see what we think. So here is the full list of tiles, but we're going to go through them one at a time. So first off, I kind of wish that they all came with labels saying what biome they are, but I think this one is very clear and super easy to distinguish. Granted, this area seems kind of sparse, so it doesn't seem to be too busy. It's interesting that Meph is bringing this up to me because actually I'm not a huge fan of Meph's personal tile set that he's created. I think it's a little bit too busy in general and difficult to discern one thing from another, so I'm happy that this is being discussed. As for the second screenshot, I don't think any of these variations in kind of the lights and darks, I don't think there will be any issues kind of discerning one thing from another. If anything, I think that this is a much nicer looking pattern for the grass. I'm quite a fan of this one, to be honest. Next is the one with the little river on the side. Again, I really like the little flowers, and I don't think there will be too much issue discerning things. I want to be able to immediately decipher what I'm looking at based on just simply glancing at it. One thing that I wonder if it'll be an issue here is colorblind people. Discerning the different greens, if everything is just kind of one palette, I don't think that the different shades are going to be particularly helpful, so patterns are going to be helpful. So I think that the different patterns in the flowers and the grass types is actually quite important personally. Now, I really like the way the kind of gravel looks here. Again, they're using a variety of different patterns, and we have kind of the dead grass in between as well as the dead stumps and stuff. I'm really curious to know what the evil and good biomes are going to look like. I don't think we've actually seen any of that stuff yet because evil biomes have like fingers and eyeballs and stuff growing out of the ground, whereas the good biomes have like trees made of feathers and like weird plants that you wouldn't see in real life. But again, I think that everything here is pretty distinguishable, and I really like the kind of toned down colors that they're using for this tile set in general. I think that it's gonna be quite helpful. As far as like issues with over busying things, I don't really see that problem at all. It doesn't really suffer from the problems that a lot of the tile sets do that are very popular, which is super bright colors. I think that stuff can become kind of an assault on the senses after a while, and this doesn't have that problem for me at least. Now we have kind of a variation of the first biome, but with more variation in grass colors. I actually like this one a lot more than the first image. The first image just seems a little plain and almost unfinished. This gives a lot more depth to the different colors. The next image we have coming up here as well is going to be very similar. I think one major advantage of ASCII is you're able to have much more dense foliage without over busying the screen, because very simple symbols can show a whole lot of information once you understand what the symbols mean. Simply changing a color can mean a completely different plant. Here you have to give a different sprite, right? So this is kind of more of an example of like what a busier undergrowth would look like. And once again, I don't really have the issue with overcomplicating things. I would really like to see kind of the camera brought back a bit to see smaller versions of these sprites, because I don't directly have the issue of, oh, it's too detailed, it's not too busy for me personally. If you think that this is too detailed, though, I'd love to know what you have to think down in the comments, though. We're almost finished. Let's get through the last couple. Now, this one, in comparison to the one we saw before, I actually don't like as much. I think this one's a little bit dull. There isn't a lot of color variation in the grass. It's very slight. I almost can't tell the difference between the different grass colors and types. Not a huge fan of the visuals of this one. I think it's just plain looking. I'm a much bigger fan of the more textured tiles. They do end up looking busier, but I find them a lot easier on the eyes. And I think this last screenshot here is a perfectly good example of that, because here's like the different textures, more variation in color. I'm more of a fan of the darker transitions, the more blunt lines that very much signify this is a different thing. Communicate as much information to the player as possible, while at the same time trying to not make things look overly busy. I think that we run into danger when everything is just one flat color, because a lot of people aren't going to be examining every single individual tile and seeing the different plant types. So I think more information is better, and I don't think they should be too concerned with these grasses about obstructing the vision of the player. But do you have any concerns? Is anything here an issue to you? Does anything here bother you? What would you like changed? Please go let Meph know down in the Reddit thread, linked in the description at the bottom of the video, and also let me know in the comments, because I'd love to hear what you have to say. And small announcement here, well, actually kind of a big announcement. I'm going to have Tarn Adams on my stream again. We don't have an exact date yet, and I don't have an exact time yet, but I know it will be next week. So I will announce that hopefully in the next 2 days. Keep an eye out for an announcement video where you can submit questions. And if you haven't seen the other one that I did, you can find also the link for that in the description. Thank you very much for watching this video, and thanks so much to my patrons for supporting this stuff that I do. It's fantastic that I'm able to do this. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.